Thank you, Dan. Welcome, everyone. It's Thursday, October 22nd, 2019, 63 degrees outside, 6 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. Good morning, Shane. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm waiting for my meds to kick in.
Yeah, right. yeah, you got to take those a little earlier, I'm
Don't
afraid.
forget your meds, folks. Especially that stuff for your heart. You got to make sure it's
You
good.
got to
So,
make sure it's good. Yeah, that's for
yeah,
sure. Yeah, we want to keep you around for a while. We need you here.
yeah.
So,
120 over 78 was my blood pressure yesterday.
well,
So,
good. That's pretty good blood pressure. That's all right. I've always had good
yeah.
blood pressure. I've never had a blood pressure issue, so I'm pretty healthy, in spite of the evidence in front of you.
Well, that's right. With all the issues I have with my heart, my doctor looks at me and says, "It doesn't make sense. You have a heart of an 18-year-old, and it's got all these issues. Like, it's amazing." So,
Yeah, well, okay.
lucky me. It must
Yeah,
be my DNA.
yeah, because you've had what, like 15 heart attacks, haven't you? Something like that.
A slew of them, a
Yeah,
slew of them. And after watching the news about the Chinese developing monkey hearts, like
I
I'm
know. I
I'm
know.
worried,
These
man.
guys are crazy, aren't they? They are
Well,
just having a wonderful time.
the terrible thing is the accidents and stuff getting out of the labs and all that
Well,
stuff.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's always every horror movie. The whatever it is escapes. Come on, that's just a natural course of events in every horror
Yeah,
movie you've
well,
ever seen.
Murphy's Law when man's involved, right?
That's right. That's for sure. Let's take a quick look at our Gallatin Valley weather. We got a chance of rain mainly between noon and 4 p.m. today, then a chance of showers and thunderstorms after that. Increasing clouds will have a high of about 77 today, so way below our normal average. And chance of precipits about 50% today, so pretty good chance we'll get rained on. And tonight, chance of showers and thunderstorms before 10 o'clock, then rain after 10. Mostly cloudy, low around 51 overnight. Chance of precip 50% again tonight. On Friday, 40% chance of rain, mainly before 8 o'clock in the morning, and mostly sunny with a high near 78. And Friday night, increasing clouds, low around 55. No chance of precip on Friday night. Saturday is going to be partly sunny with a high near 83. That's a little more normal for us this time of year. And wind gusts out of the south and the west could be up to 18 miles an hour. Saturday night, chance of rain between 7 and 1. Partly cloudy, low around 51. And then on Sunday, going to be a nice sunny Sunday day with a high near 76. And mostly clear Sunday night with a low around 46. So pretty nice week ahead for the weekend and the rest of the week here. Temperatures around the area right now, 56 in Livingston. It's 60 in Manhattan. It is 60 in Three Forks. It's 65 in Gallatin Gateway. 62 in Ennis, 56 in Big Sky, and at the airport in Belgrade, it is 61 degrees right now. We're at 63 at our lavishly appointed downtown studios here in beautiful downtown Bozeman, Montana, the last best place on earth. Shane and I making radio great again in Montana. So that'll wrap it up for the weather.
Well, that's good. I mean, now you're 4 weeks running. I'm so happy for you.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. So you may not have to water your lawn this this Friday.
Well, you keep track of downloads, and I keep track of how many weather reports you write. Like, this
Oh,
is
okay.
great.
All right. So I've been
Yeah. I have my little job.
been pretty close here. Yeah. Downloads at our website, 1,366 downloads of our shows. Thank you very much for 214 episodes. We appreciate that very much. Thanks for doing that. If you want to download or if you missed any of our shows, you can rehear them commercial free, news free, just us all morning long, us and the callers and the texters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and all my silence.
That's you. AM 1450 KMMS on your smartphone. Get the app, and you can listen to us anytime. And the same with KMMSAM.com. Get over there, click on look on the What's Hot bar for Tom and Shane podcast, and that'll take you to a link that'll get you over there, and you can listen to any of our past shows for the past, over a year.
Almost a year now, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it goes back because we did the
we did Saturday shows through there too before
yeah.
we took over back in November. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
so all our shows are over there. So get over there and get them, and don't forget if you have the AM 1450 KMMS app on your phone. You can also use App Chat right next to the listen button. Just click the App Chat. You can send a message right over to us directly, and we'll be happy to put that on the air. Or if you don't want it on the air, put NFA, not for air, NFA in front of it. You
That's
just
right.
want to send something to us.
I've had friends tell me they think I sound really good with earphones. So put on a pair of earphones with your cell phone and let the world go and enjoy yourself listening to the day's events and all around good stuff.
Amen. Well, everybody's wondering what happened on this date in 1485. I mean, people woke up this morning thinking, 1485, I wonder what happened on this day in 1485.
Could have gone wrong, yeah.
Well, England's King Richard III was killed in a battle of Bosworth Field, ending the War of the Roses. And a lot of people have heard of the War of the Roses. I think they made a couple of movies about the War of the Roses, if I remember correctly. But
they did. They did.
All right. So we don't want to talk about that.
No, it's English, and
we don't care. We don't care what happened in England.
Yeah, I got tired of 3 weeks ago.
That gets old. Everything in England. Yeah. It's a lot more interesting that in 1846, on this date, the United States annexed New Mexico. So there was a big hole there between California and Nevada, and Arizona, so
that's great.
They're in Texas.
Yeah.
So we had to fill that hole in down there.
That's right. Well, as we've discussed, and it's really important that everyone realize, this was one of the big wins of the Spanish-Mexican War, which ended in 1845, and President Polk annexed Texas right away, 3/4 of Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arizona, the lower part of Nebraska, Colorado, Nevada, and the lower half of California. I mean, you just grabbed 55% of Mexico from Mexico.
I was going to say, they were a little upset about that, I believe.
Well, that's why they want it back, and that's why they're invading your country.
That's
anyway,
right. We deserve to live here. I'm surprised nobody Democrat has brought that up. We deserve to live here. You took it away from us. It's our land. It's like it's like the American Indians. You took our land from us, and we want it back. So.
Well, I can't believe these Cortez and all these other people haven't come up with. The Republicans say they've never taken any country what they've conquered, and that's not true. And they took all of this land from Mexico, and we should give it back to them.
That's right. Absolutely. Yep.
Anyway, we got to talk about New Mexico for one moment. It's 36 by population in your country, just over 2 million people. It has a pretty good rocketing, economy. The economy is $101 billion. The average GDP per person is $45,500. Not bad because it's not expensive to live there. It's warm.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really need, except the cold winter nights can be cold winter nights. It can get cold. But anyway, one of the biggest industries is the film industry, $1.2 billion a year. Yeah. And of course, the U.S. military, because it's on the border of that dirty, nasty southern neighbor of yours, Mexico.
Don't they have the White Sands there or something?
That's
some
right.
Air Force base or something?
They have Los Alamos National Laboratories, which developed the Manhattan Project and has all those aliens hidden there.
Boo!
And the White Sands Missile Range, very large.
Yeah.
Very, very large.
Yeah.
It was originally an Aztec land, but there's now over 6 million signatories on going down and wanting to check out, the Trinity test site and Los Alamos.
Area 51, yeah.
Yeah, well, Area 51, baby.
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
your way.
Yeah, they've declared it a national emergency. I heard on the
I know, it's
radio
great.
this morning
I
for
love
Area
this stuff.
51, just
That's
in
right.
case people show up.
Just
If
in
all
case,
6 million show up, that's going to be quite a deal, man.
yeah, and they're having a music concert just in case they can't get in and they want to give them something to
Oh,
do.
okay, they'll.
Some locals are putting on a music concert, and there's like within 50 miles, there's like 12 motels with like 100 rooms.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's not much there. It's pretty empty. Well, it'd be like Woodstock,
Yeah, of
except
course it would be,
without the
baby.
rain. Woodstock without the rain. Yeah.
And that thing that the motorcycle guys do in North Dakota.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah. They do
I
the
think,
ride.
yeah, they meet annually in North Dakota in this little town of nobody.
Yeah, yeah.
And no, there's one hotel in the town and one gas station, and
I know. Yeah.
15,000 motorbikes show up.
Well, there you are. 1851 on this date, the schooner America outraced the Aurora off the English coast to win a trophy that became known as the America's Cup.
This is sort of important because of the Stanley Cup.
Mm-hmm.
The original America's Cup was awarded in 1851 by the Royal Yacht Squadron for a race around the Isle of Wight in the United Kingdom, and was won by the American schooner America. So the way this works is whoever wins gets the cup and takes it home, and then they have the next competition in their country. And it was the original cup was donated to the New York Yacht Club. Always an amazing event, having watched this in my lifetime and the development of the ships and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But just it's become too expensive and too costly to run, and it's unfortunate that.
Yeah, it's a rich man's game, that's
yeah.
for sure. Yeah, really
they've
is.
made rule changes in 2017, so the 36th Cup will be staged in 2021 in New Zealand. So,
wow. Okay. All right, we got to take care of our ranchers, farmers, cab drivers, truck drivers, anybody that brings you booze, food, or clothing, hemp or otherwise. So we'll be right back. Here's your Montana News and Ag. 24 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m., it's Thursday, August 22nd, 2019, 62 degrees outside. Shane Matobin, half man, half amazing on the line with me. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor, and this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox from our text line. Shane, Mexico sold their northern territories to the U.S. in 1848 under the terms of Guadalupe, the
Guadalupe Treaty of the Mexican-American War. Yeah, 1845 to 1848.
There you are.
Yes.
All right.
They didn't sell them; they seceded them as part of the treaty.
Okay. Let's see. From our text line, going to be missing a few village idiots. I don't know if that refers to us, Shane, or which village that is, but I guess we'll.
Well, I'm happy to take the no manner.
Yeah.
Idiots are the ones who get it right.
Well, that's what supposedly. We'll see. Let's see. Getting back to this day in history, 1893, author, poet, critic, and wit Dorothy Parker was born in West Bend, New Jersey. Most people listening to us, including me, have probably never heard of Dorothy Parker or cares who she is.
Well,
other than you. I'm sure she's wonderful.
She was a real supporter of women's suffrage and a writer, and I can't go there now. Okay.
1902 on this date, President Theodore Roosevelt became the first U.S. executive to ride in an automobile in public in Hartford, Connecticut. Wow.
That's right.
That was a deal, wasn't it?
Secret Service made the determination that was probably the safest way for him to travel because they were keeping him away from crowds because McKinley had been assassinated wandering into a crowd in 1901. But he was the youngest president so far, 42.
Yeah.
And he started the national parks and got 61 approved by Congress. the national forests, monuments. I mean, 129 protected monuments that he had federally put up. The Panama Canal he started on with the focus of Central America. Settled the Russo-Japanese War. Imagine that in 1900. Wow, excuse. In 1906, won the Nobel Peace Prize. And one of the great things is he's really renowned and remembered because of what's in the Dakotas, that great mountain, Mount Rushmore. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
And now there's an interesting story, and then we'll go. So there's 4 people on Mount Rushmore. You can name them, right?
Right.
Lincoln.
Yeah.
Washington.
Jefferson.
And Teddy Roosevelt. So this was done during
and Millard Fillmore. Yeah.
This was done during FDR's time.
Yeah.
As a project, and he wanted it actually to be him, but everybody said that would be a bit wrong, and he said, well, I got to have a Roosevelt up there because Teddy Roosevelt was his cousin, but a Republican.
Yeah.
So they put Teddy Roosevelt out there instead of him, and there is some historians that believe that FDR's hope was that one day they would change Teddy's face to his, because Teddy, they have the glasses, that FDR.
Yeah.
And they put that giant mustache on.
Be easy to change, wouldn't it? Yeah. Just chip little cheeks off and.
If you go to Mount Rushmore, look at the face from the nose up, and it looks like FDR. Okay.
Yeah. All right. There. Okay. Clarification on our text line 4788298. The Village Idiots was reference to the Area 51 idiots.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There you are.
Well, yeah, we're those aliens, didn't we?
Yeah.
I thought Pete and everybody knew you and I are actually aliens.
Well, it would stand to reason, wouldn't it? I mean.
Well, yeah, we're just in rubber bodysuits. You should see what we really look like. Scare the hell out of you.
Yeah, I wonder why we pick these particular suits, but that's a whole nother story, huh?
Well, low key. We want to be.
We're very low key. Yes, we are. We're easy not to spot. We blend.
That's right.
All right. All right, we got to get out of here. We got Montana State News, Fox News, Brooke Foster weather, Gesundheit will be in, Jacobus will stop by, and, of course, all kinds of other things. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane right after this. 24 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Thursday. It's Thursday. It's not Tuesday. I won't be here on a Tuesday. We're going to do best of shows on Tuesday. I'm not coming in anymore, Shane. Thursday, August 22nd, 2019, 62 degrees outside. The KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. From our website, or from our text line, rather, so much local and regional news to talk about, and all we ever hear is gibberish from you guys. Come on. And please fix the app so it doesn't cut off early before the news. Annoying. That's all. Yeah, and our delay has something to do with that, and I've sent messages about that, but I'll send another one today. And we had it fixed for a while, but I'm not sure. Do you get that? Do you get it cut off before the news, Shane? Where you?
Sometimes, but I sometimes have to reload it, to get the sound for the show. But it's okay. It's no big deal.
Okay.
Have to be patient. Let your computer think.
Yeah, because we're not thinking, that's for sure. Well, guess what? In 1904, Chinese leader, communist leader, Deng Xiaoping was born in Sichuan province. Isn't Sichuan a food or a type of food or something? Isn't that Chinese food, Sichuan?
Yes, it is. Szechuan is a type of food.
Okay, well, I thought it was. So I didn't know if it's just from that area or whether the town was named after the food or what,
Well, actually, it's known as being hotly spiced. That's
okay. All right.
That's what Szechuan food is. It's hotly spiced food. Anyway, tremendous influence, probably more than Mao. Well, clearly more than Mao.
Mm-hmm.
He took, Mao died in 1976 and didn't leave an heir. And anyway, he ended up being the paramount leader from 1978 until his retirement in 1992. And now this young man, this is important, who was educated in Europe, France in particularly. He was part of the Long March, which is why he was well respected. And he worked in Tibet after the revolution in 1949 and quelled the outbreak of rioting against China's taking over Tibet. But when he became Secretary General, he was the one who made the determination of what direction the Communist Party would move in China after Mao, because Mao had been such a disaster. And he was the one who made the decision to create a fascist country, because it would allow the Communist Party to exist. It would provide the opportunity for the generals in the People's Army to become very wealthy to this day. And so if anyone wants to point a finger at who made it possible for China to be where it is today, it's this guy. And he made all the changes and everything in regards to their banking system and their manufacturing system, and moved it from basically a free enterprise, not free enterprise, but a capitalist system of competition owned by all the party members, in particular the generals of the People's Army. And this is why, and I'm bringing this up, and this is why it's important. He made the decision to segregate Hong Kong, which they've stuck to this day. Yep. You know, it's a sad commentary that 2 million people have gone to the streets of Hong Kong in the last 10 weeks now. It's been going on, with American flags, singing the American national anthem, wanting freedom from a communist fascist country.
All right.
And you have Antifa trying to destroy your country and go to socialism. I mean, wow, that's incredible.
Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's going on?
Well, the top of the hour, they had a story about Greenland.
Yeah.
In Denmark.
Yes.
This would be the third time that the U.S. has attempted to buy Greenland.
That's right. The last was Truman.
Mm-hmm. No, Seward had an attempt in 1867. And in 1849, we tried to buy it, and instead we just declared all the bases that we wanted, and they gave them to us, and so we didn't need to buy it. And so, but we did buy in 1917. We did buy the Danish West Indies and called them the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Right.
So we've done this before.
Oh yeah, nobody said we haven't done it before. We've done it before. Yeah, sure.
It makes good sense to buy Greenland. We tried to buy Iceland.
I'd love to own Greenland. I think that'd be a great place.
Well, Greenland has some valuable hunting concessions because people don't know this.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of things.
It has some of the best muskox and reindeer hunting in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about all that's valuable about Greenland because there's no timber there.
Yeah. Well, there might be some minerals there, a few, not much, but some.
Greenland should be called Iceland.
Yeah.
And Iceland should be called Greenland.
Yeah. Well, maybe if we buy it, we'll change the name.
Well.
Yeah, they'll change the name to Trumpland.
Yeah. Tom and Shane.
No, the oil companies get what they want. They're not going to drill in Greenland. It's not going to happen.
Probably not, but anyway.
There's plenty of oil here in this country.
That's for sure. Yep.
But by announcing that there's a pool of oil under Greenland, all they've done is increase its value.
Mm-hmm.
It has a 2-mile thick ice cap on it.
Yeah.
And one of the most valuable pieces of information to have come out is the 6,000-year Greenland ice cores, which go back 6,000 years and give us the exact climate data for 6,000 years.
Yeah.
That's that 2 miles thick of ice. They've drilled that core out.
Yeah, pretty good deal.
So climate change is purely, seasonal and predictable and cyclic.
Yeah.
But they're trying to enact a global tax on the U.S. what it is the foreign aid policy.
Oh, yeah. Well, Shane's been preaching that forever, that instead of giving foreign aid, we're going to have to pay a carbon tax. And everybody's against foreign aid, but who could be against a carbon tax? Come on, we're polluting.
Well, like I've said before, the way you solve human-caused global warming is by eliminating the human.
Yeah. Well, okay. As long as it's not Shane and I, because we got to be here every morning to.
No, it'll be in China. In China, there's a genocide on the Uyghurs in Xinjiang right now.
Yeah.
But nobody talks about that.
Yeah. All right, I got to go.
All right.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. All right, we'll be right back right after this. 13 minutes before the top of the hour. It is Thursday, August 22nd, 2019, 62 degrees coming up. And Eagle Mount will be in, I believe it's 7:30. They're going to be chatting about Digger Days, where you get to take the kids out to Eagle Mount and get on the backhoes and bulldozers and all that kind of stuff and play around and ride around on them and move some dirt and all that stuff. So it should be a fun day. We'll hear more about that coming up, I believe, at the bottom of the next hour. And 8 o'clock, of course, it's the last Thursday of the month. That means the God Squad will be in. And we'll check with the God Squad and see what trouble they can get into today. So should be pretty interesting. Our poll question of the day, pick only one answer. Pick only one answer. And the answers are win the lottery, live twice as long, have super strength, or super intelligence. And right now it's a three-way tie between win the lottery, live twice as long, or other, it doesn't matter, I'm the chosen one. So there you go,
baby.
That's pretty good. Yesterday we had to choose a rock, paper, scissors. Rock won, 34% of the vote. Other was 30% of the vote, and paper was 19, scissors was 7, and axe was 7. So some of the other answers, Spock, we had 2 Spocks, and never played the game. This is a stupid poll, none of the 3. Uzi was 1, equally support all 3, and Glock 9 always settles the argument. So that was our poll question of the day yesterday. So thanks for getting in on that one. And please consider voting today. Just pick one answer, win the lottery, live twice as long, super strength or super intelligence. Which of those would you like to have or win or whatever?
We should be happy we paid attention to Biden. There seems to be more fact in there than truth.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Glock. A Glock.
A Glock, right. Yeah, there's more truth in there. So, well, let's see what we do. We were doing the day in history somewhere on here. Let's look at that.
Well,
because
Kerr McGee was what we were talking about, and I just wanted to, it's not a major thing, but for the audience, this is an
Kerr McGee. We were talking about Kerr McGee.
No, but that was next on the list.
Oh, okay. All right.
And the only reason I want to mention it is that you want to know how Wall Street makes money. Okay, so Mr. Kerr started this company on 1929, 90 years ago, and turned it into a very successful oil company. And in June 2006, a petroleum company named Anadarko Petroleum acquired Kerr McGee, and ready for this, in all cash transaction totaling $16.6 billion.
Wow.
Plus $2 billion in debt. But, Wall Street probably got between 1.2 and 1.5 billion on that deal, whoever put it together. So then, of course, and Anadarko is a petroleum company. It was created 60 years ago by some guys from Texas. And the key people were Robert A. Walker and Robert G. Gwynn. Well, in 2019, they sold out to Occidental Petroleum, which Wall Street won big time again on that massive takeover of Anadarko. And so this is the consolidation of companies is one of the things that goes on a constant basis on Wall Street, which is where the big money, IPOs and consolidations, are the 2 biggest money winners. And if you know, the resulting company is significant. It's not that it's small or bad or anything,
Mm-hmm.
but the playground to make money is great, quite remarkable. Occidental is 17 billion, number of employees 11,000, total assets 43 billion, and their net income for last year $4.1 billion. So the oil industry has been very, very good to them. Very, very good to them.
But the reason that they're on this day in history is that they agreed to pay the estate of Karen Silkwood 1.38 million, setting a 10-year nuclear contamination lawsuit.
That's right, and that's why they ended up being bought out because of that issue and didn't want it to.
And that's where the movie came from.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Yeah.
Wow, you're not just a pretty face either.
No, I'm not, man. This is a serious deal here. All right. We got to take another quick break. We'll be right back. Hang on. 4 minutes for the top of the hour. I'm not sure I would buy life insurance from a guy named Big Lou.
There you go.
1992, second day of the Ruby Ridge siege in Idaho. We talked about this yesterday. An FBI sharpshooter killed Vicki Weaver, the wife of white separatist Randy Weaver.
That's right.
Yeah. And
terrible,
we were talking yesterday about how these things really got out of hand for a pretty minor infraction. Weaver tried to sell a couple of sawed-off shotguns and, I don't know, to the wrong guy, I guess. And
ETF, yeah.
Yeah, and they came after him, but I don't believe that that offense is worth shooting people over.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you can negotiate your way out of that situation, and it just escalated on. And Waco, as you were talking about before, Janet Napolitano involved in both of those. So it was
no. FBI Reno.
Oh, Reno, that's right, Reno.
He was Homeland.
You're right.
Napolitano was Homeland Security.
That's right. I forgot. Yeah.
And it's ATF. Sorry, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
Yeah, it's early in the morning. Thanks for pointing that out to me.
We got to be right. Cause,
I know, yeah. Well,
I don't want to score a Pinocchio from the Washington Post.
Well, yeah, we can't do that. Well, another big story that everybody remembers, 2003, Alabama Chief Justice Roy Moore was suspended for his refusal to obey a federal order to remove the Ten Commandments monument from the rotunda of his courthouse. And
that's right.
Yeah, ran for the Senate and got beat. In fact, Trump endorsed the other guy running against him, and
that's right.
We a lot of us felt he could have won with Trump's endorsement, but for whatever reason, Trump was with the other guy who lost.
Well, he's planning to run again in 2020 because the seat's available.
Yep.
So there you go.
So he may be victorious this time. All right, let's see. Well, 2005, the last Jewish settlers left the Gaza Strip, ending decades of Israelis' turbulent occupation of the Gaza Strip. So.
Yeah, and this is an international catastrophe in the context of trying to resolve the Palestine and Israel issue. Yeah, when Israel signed the treaty with Egypt, they agreed to provide this Gaza Strip to the Palestinians to develop their own area and their own properties. And the sad thing is that from day one, all they've used it as a terrorist operation to destroy Israel. And as much as Israel has tried to work with them on this issue, it's just been one of these situations of the choices people make result in very disturbing consequences. And it is a somewhat sad issue because there is such a great opportunity, being on the Mediterranean and so forth, that if they could just agree to forgive one another and get on with it. Ouch.
Yeah. All right, that wraps it up for this portion of the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And coming up 7:30, Eagle Mouse will be in here. They've got Digger Days coming up, 8 o'clock. A God Squad will pay their monthly visit to us, so we'll have some fun with them. And more to come after the news. We'll tackle some local issues here, what's going on around Bozeman, Livingston, and the surrounding area, and keep you up to speed on what's happening there. and do our text line and all the other stuff. We'll just check it all out. So
There you go.
yes, we will. All right, we'll be right back. We got Fox News, we got Montana State News, we got Brooke Foster with the weather, and a bunch of other things. So stay tuned. We'll be right back following the news at the top of the hour. Thank you, Dan. Welcome back, everyone. Thursday, August 22nd, 2019, 6 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It's 63 degrees outside. We're looking for a high of about 77 or so today. Shaman Taubman, half man, half amazing, on the line with me. And Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor. This is the KMMS Morning Soapbox, of course. And from our app chat line, Shane, Vikings grew barley in Greenland.
Yes, they did.
So there you are.
Yeah. That's right. 400 years ago, Greenland was less frozen.
Yeah. Let's see, from our text line, 478-8298. It's amazing how you guys conveniently leave out details. Roy Moore was accused by 9 women of sexual misconduct and child molestation. That's why he didn't win, and that's why Trump supported the other guy. You're really going to pretend like you don't know why Trump support him? Come on, guys. All right. Well,
Keyword accused.
Accused, yeah.
And none of them pursued that after this incident.
Mm-hmm.
Not one. Not one of those people pursued him after that incident.
Yeah, and I think that's why he's going to go ahead and run. But it was an accusation, not a. He never went to court. He never. No charges ever filed against him or whatever. So that's. I mean, we could have inserted that just as easily, but we just did.
It's not it's not the French Republic. Remember, in France, under federal law, or
you're guilty.
You're guilty. You have to prove your innocence at your own expense, folks.
Right. All right, let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Call you on the air. What's going on?
Good morning, gentlemen. This is Jerry.
Hey, Jerry.
They said that on the news that Inslee dropped out of the race. That's
he did.
Correct?
Yep, yeah. That's right.
Well, what information did he get, and from whom, to make his parting shot that 1 billion tons of ice have disappeared from Greenland?
Didn't they hold a funeral for the ice?
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, they held a funeral for the ice, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
And they put a marker there for it, but regrettably it melted into the ocean.
Yeah, it just went away with the ice. So. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, the president was trying to buy that tract of land, and that would be.
Well, no, he wasn't trying to buy it. He was just talking about it. Let's not get past.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, it would be a great place for those environmentalists to try to get that marker.
Yeah.
To move correctly, and they could sort of stop that melting if they felt so, dedicated to this. Yeah,
absolutely, of course. Yeah.
And one more thing, they said that Hickenlooper, he had dropped out, but he's going to run for Senate in his
Colorado,
home state.
Colorado, yeah.
Yeah, Colorado, yeah.
See, this is why I believe you need campaign finance reform. He shouldn't be able to use that money to run for Senate, in my opinion.
Well, we think Bullock will do the same thing. We think Bullock will run against Daines. So.
Well, doesn't a lot of that money come from donors from outside the home state of these individuals?
Absolutely, of course.
Yeah.
See, that's not.
Well,
right.
especially in Montana, because we just don't have the population. So obviously, the major candidates do go outside the state.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah. Don't you think Hickenlooper got some money from outside his state also?
Oh, I'm sure he did. Yeah.
See, I want to both. Just real quick. I'm making a call today. This is a big call for me. Remember a year ago, I announced that I had a pick for for who would run and probably win. And he came out and said, I will not run if Joe Biden does. Well, I think that Joe Biden will be out by December, and Bloomberg will come in and run for president under the Democratic flag, and he will be the nominee.
Bloomberg?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think so, huh?
Oh.
Yeah, because he wouldn't run because he said a year ago, if Biden's going to run, I'm not going to run.
Yeah.
Shane, you're not smoking any of those left-handed cigarettes, are you?
No, but think about it. I mean, twice mayor of New York. He's got all the money. He doesn't need any money. Doesn't need any money.
Yeah, I understand that, but those fellas back there, even guys like Giuliani, they're not known west of the Palisades in New Jersey.
That's right. Yeah. Bloomberg's not known around the area. That's for sure. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
that's my call. That's
okay.
my call.
We'll
All right.
see.
and you're sticking to it.
Yeah.
And I'm sticking to it. Yes.
Okay. Well, have a great day, guys.
All right. Hey,
All
thanks
right,
for the
thanks
call.
You bet.
Appreciate it. All right. Yeah. I know, Shane, you heard New York Mayor de Blasio's little chipmunk speech, right? That was too much. That was too much. If you didn't hear it, de Blasio did a town hall by video with a group in Iowa, and they did something with the sound, and his voice was speeded up, and he sounded like like the Chipmunks doing the Christmas song.
Yeah, the helium voice.
He had a helium voice. He's going. I don't know. It's pretty funny.
And the amazing thing is, he didn't even know it.
Well, he didn't know it, but until afterwards, yeah. He's just talking away about everything, all the things. Everybody in Iowa's laughing their keisters off.
That's right.
Wow, this is great. So he's not going to be in the next debate, and I would think he would probably be the next one that would drop out. I don't know, but
and Biden had a gathering in a theater.
Yeah. And
75 people showed up.
Yeah,
there you go.
Well, I don't know.
Now, the only one that's had a crowd, and got to mention, is Warren.
Mm-hmm.
She apparently had a crowd of 12,000 people at one of her gatherings.
Yeah, she had quite She's had some Trump-sized crowds at some of her events. That's true. Yeah.
No, I'm not his size, but bigger than most.
Well, pretty close.
Half his size. We'll go with half his size.
Okay. Well, whatever. Let's see. The chosen one, stable genius, is losing his mind. People need to come to terms that he's not stable. Talking about Trump, of course. So, but
a rhetorical comment in reference to China, saying no one else has done this for 30 years since Ping, which we talked about today.
Yeah.
So, I was the one chosen by the people, elected president, and to take him on, because that's what I said I'd do during my campaign. It's just a rhetorical comment. But, of course, they have to make worse of it. They have to.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Sad.
Yeah. From our text line, 478-8298, don't quit your day job, Shane. Let's see. From yesterday, Trump canceled his meeting with Denmark unless they would favorably discuss the sale of Greenland. They were obviously insulted that this was a condition of the meeting, thus insulting, alienating Denmark. Geez, Tom. Well, if they're that upset over a remark, I don't know. I guess there's not much negotiation available there.
Well, what I last noticed, Denmark owes $2.7 billion to NATO.
Yeah. And
the government also is having an issue because the cost for maintaining Greenland is about $750 million or $1 billion a year for them. So, it wasn't meant as an insult. It was just meant as maybe, let's talk about it. You talk to, when Truman proposed $100 million, he actually met with the ambassador, and they
talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah, the Queen was the one who didn't want to give up the property.
Yeah.
Back in the 1940s.
Yeah, from our text line, 478-8298. Why not, Tom? Because Big Lou says he's just like you. So why would I not buy life insurance from a guy named Big Lou? By the way, heard that Majestic Storm gave the eulogy for the ice in Greenland, I guess, the ice that they're missing. Bernie says Christianity offends Muslims, so that may be true. Certainly, in some areas of the world, it does.
Well, this is a Jewish guy that went to Moscow for his honeymoon. So look, I am.
And also from yesterday, I'm middle class, and I'm way better off than my middle class parents were at my age. And from our, let's see, from our text line, or our app chat rather, well, we did that one already. Vikings grew barley in Greenland, so just to bring that up to speed. But don't forget to use our app chat on AM 1450 KMMS. You can, it's right next to the listen button. Just hit the app chat and send us a message, and we'll be happy to take that on for you.
And I'm proud to say both my daughters, 34, 35 millennials, are doing better than I was. They're both doing better than I did at that age. So
yeah.
So props to any millennials. They get out there and get after it.
That's right. If Obama said, I'm the chosen one, Shane's head would spontaneously explode. Trump, me.
Well, he is the president.
That's right.
Yes,
he is.
Sorry,
If you don't like the heat, get out of the kitchen, as Truman said, right?
That's right.
Well, he is the only one that's taken on China, and I mean taking them on big time and really put them in a box. You know, there's been a lot of threats made of China, but nobody ever carried through on them, and Trump is carrying through on them. And whether you like it or not, certainly China is being hurt, and as we are, and nobody wins these things. But I just don't think you can make a deal with China because they are not going to stop intellectual property theft. I don't think. I don't see a reason for them to stop doing it.
Nope.
Unless their economy just absolutely goes down the tubes. They've got the whole rest of the world to sell to besides us.
Well, that's right. And if you look at it from the context of numbers, the $22.5 trillion debt you have, 12 trillion of it in the last 10 years has gone out the door because of the following reasons: war in the Middle East, the Chinese, and NAFTA.
Yeah.
Those three things have drained your treasury of $12 trillion, folks. And this is the only guy that wants to get it back. Come on,
what's the problem? Yeah, it's going to be painful.
Giddy up.
Well, the Depression was painful. The recession we had, the Great Recession was painful, but we worked our way out of it. A lot of people were hurt. A lot of people lost jobs and whatever. And, nobody wants that. But if you come out better on the other end, nobody wanted Yellowstone to burn, but, it came back much better than it was before. So, just because, our parents and grandparents gave up coffee and sugar and nylon and rubber and steel and all that stuff to fight in World War II, and that wasn't a pleasant experience, I don't think, for them. But They did it anyway.
And 5% of your debt of $22.5 trillion, $1.5 trillion is student loans. So we've talked about this. Stop charging them interest because it's government money that's owed to them.
Yeah.
It's owed.
Yeah.
And just let them pay back the principal. I mean, that's fair play. That's fair play. The government shouldn't tax or charge them interest.
Yeah, I would think that.
Debt-free loan, let them pay it back, and bingo, there's another $1.2 trillion in your treasury.
Yeah, let's hope so. All right, we got to take another quick break. We'll be right back after these important words. We'll be back in 2 minutes. 21 minutes after the hour, from our text line, Shane, please explain the objective of trade war with China. Don't say free trade. That's a cop-out. Be specific. Well, the trade war in China, before the tariffs, we were paying about $500 billion to China, more than they were sending to us. And also, they were stealing our intellectual property. In order to do business in China, you had to give up all of your business secrets to them, and they would make knockoffs and ship them around the world. And that's the biggest problem of our trade war with China. So the tariffs are imposed to make their products more expensive here, and or not more expensive here, more expensive to them to bring them here. That should be what I should have said, and that's in order to force them to with their economy going down. If they want their economy back, then stop stealing our intellectual property. Stop making companies give up their basic secrets when they do business in China, or make things in China, or sell things in China. And that's the biggest hurdle that we're trying to overcome, because if we stop the tariffs and just go back to that imbalance of trade, we're going to lose $500 or $600 billion a year to China, and that's what we were doing before. But everybody said, "Oh, that's okay." We pay tariffs to put stuff into our products into China at the cost of $600 billion a year. And other than agricultural products, there's no tariff on anything coming in from China at all. Nothing. Zero. Niche. Nada. So.
All right. So the U.S. trade deficit this year so far is $879 billion, actually larger than last year. $403 billion of that is with China. So the imbalance of trade with China has dropped by over $200 billion. Trump's been around, but here are the other key factors that he's negotiating. As you pointed out properly, intellectual property, and the way they've done this is that in developing or manufacturing anything in China, you have to tell the Chinese government what it is and give them the intellectual property access to what it is, so that you can prove to them what you're actually producing.
Right, yeah, that you're not producing some war machine for them or against them.
That's
or
right.
Whatever.
But the four things that are really big that Trump wants is banking. The Chinese have refused to open up their banking sector, and they have, of the top 10 banks in the world, 6 of them are Chinese. So if they want to continue being involved with the International Monetary Fund, one of the guidelines of that is that you have to open up your banking, and they refuse to follow that rule. So they're breaking the IMF rules. With the intellectual property, they're breaking the World Trade Organization rules, the WTO. So that, and this one is a big one, drugs, fentanyl. 80% of fentanyl coming into the United States is produced in China and shipped over here by the Chinese to other places like Mexico to get in the country illegally. And they'd agreed to outlaw it, and the penalty to anyone caught, death. And so, and then the other problem was, it's not just tariffs that the Chinese charge, but barriers. They have open barriers on products they will not allow in their country. And he wants all of these things off the table in the agreement. And the most important thing, he wants the penalty. He wants a penalty in there for not against the U.S., because the U.S. doesn't break it, so he's refused to allow them to penalize the U.S. But he wants penalties qualified in the agreement that China will have to pay. Now, these are all sticky things. One in particular was the fentanyl, because they have to go back and change their law. So when she went to the pull-up bureau and said, "Boys, we've got to change our law," they all looked at her and said, "What? The United States wants us to change our law? We know change law for America. Who you? I'm the great leader." So now they're in trouble. There you go.
Well, and also Hong Kong too is the other thing that's going on there that are causing them problems, of course. So, but that's pretty much the long and short of it. That we can keep on sending them $600 billion a year if you're happy with that. Fine, go along with it. But, and stealing our intellectual property and knocking off products all over the world. And, if you're happy with that and you're okay with that, then Trump is wrong.
That's right.
But, if you're not, then, hey, get on board. If the trade wars are so good and easy to win, well, they're not easy to win. So how come our deficit with China has gone up every month since Trump has started this stupid thing? Well, because the same thing is going on. The only thing that's changed, China's doing exactly the same thing they were doing, except the only change is that we've got tariffs on some of their goods, and we're going to put another 25% on September 1st. So
that's right. But this is key. This is the biggie. As I said, trade with the trade deficit has dropped by $200 billion with China. And what's that from? Where did the $200 billion go? Americans not buying their products. So this isn't about Chinese products going up in price. Americans are not buying them. So when people go into stores, they're looking to see where something's made, and a lot of Americans are making that decision. Not me.
Yeah.
So, by the way, folks, let's remember, the U.S. had a 400 million middle class, wonderful engine going, and now there's 400 million. In the last 30 years, 400 million Chinese have moved to the middle class, and so if you want to know where the shift went, that ship went right to China.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope that clears it up. If not, keep texting.
Exactly.
Or app chatting. Either one. We'll take either of the two. So by all means. Hey, don't forget to get over in our poll question of the day today. Pick one answer. Win the lottery, live twice as long, super strength, or super intelligence. Which do you like? So we're at a tie right now for super intelligence, win the lottery, and live twice as long. So try that out.
There you go.
All right,
Exactly.
Eagle Mount coming up next. We're going to be talking with them about Digger Days coming up this Saturday. So you want to get the kids around and talk to them about that. And God Squad will join us at 8 o'clock. So we'll be back with more right after this. Welcome back, everyone. Thursday, August 22nd, 2019, 65 degrees outside. We're looking for a high of 77 today. Shane Matabin, my co-host in Vancouver, British Columbia, on the line with us. And Stephanie Uter is in the house, the event manager for Eagle Mount. Welcome. Glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
So
let me
excited
turn
to
you
be
up
here.
there. There you are. There, forgot to turn you on.
Well, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Well, good. Yeah, you've made it in here before. I think I may have talked to you a couple of years ago. I think not last year, but around this time every year, you have what are called Digger Days. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But let's find out a little bit more about you. How did are you native? Are you a transplant like all of us?
I'm a transplant, guilty as charged. Originally from Athens, Georgia, and on my 7th summer here. So,
Wow.
so loving it very, very much.
Yeah. What brought you to Bozeman?
My husband and his job, fly fishing. Can't really do that in Athens, Georgia.
Well, we got the best fly fishing in the world right here. So good to have you. Good to have you here.
Well,
how did you and Eagle Mount meet up?
You know, when we moved here, I had always heard about Eagle Mount and the wonderful things that they did. And around 3.5 years ago, this job came open, and I think I hounded them until they finally said, okay, you can have the job.
Okay. Well, good. Well, sometimes that's what it takes.
Yes. I knew I wanted to be there.
Well, good. Well, that's great. Tell us a little bit about Eagle Mount for the listeners who may, most people have heard about it, but they may not know exactly what you guys do. So tell us a little bit.
Yeah, so Eagle Mount was started in 1982, and we provide therapeutic recreation and adaptive sports for people with disabilities and special needs. Also, we do summer camps for kids from across the United States that that have cancer and are currently in treatment. We have programs from skiing to ice skating to horseback riding to a massive swimming pool on our site. We have a horticulture program. You name it, we can do it. Yeah,
there's so many things you guys do out there. You're on Goldenstein still, I think.
Yes, sir. We have around a 5-acre campus on Goldenstein.
Yeah, okay. For people that want to go out and check it out and whatever.
We love to give tours. Come on out.
Yeah, I was going to say. And volunteers, too. You're always looking for volunteers to help out there.
We're looking for volunteers 12 months a year. So we love when people come out and get to experience all the great time we have with our participants, and really encourage everyone in the community to come and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's been around for certainly a long time. And, we here at KMMS and our other stations here, we've got KISS and, the Moose and, and KPRK in Livingston. We've always supported you guys, XL Country as well. So
Y'all have always been great to us, so
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Yeah, Case Guy's the other one I think we have here. So we all try to get involved if we can with you guys whenever possible. So it's been a good relationship for all of us here with you guys, and we really appreciate it. And Digger Days, we have this every year. Is it usually always in August or September or somewhere in that vicinity?
It is. It's always the last weekend in August. So usually try and do it the week before school
Labor Day.
starts, Labor Day. And it is just a great Saturday for people to come out and enjoy.
All right. For the benefit of people who have no idea what we're talking about with Digger Days, what is Digger Days at Eagle Mount?
The best way I know how to describe Digger Days is it's like your childhood sandbox coming to life.
Yeah.
We are out in a field on Dollar Drive off Frontage Road, and we have usually around 40 to 50 pieces of construction equipment. 18 of those are actually moving equipment where you can get in and you can ride in the rock truck and you can dig in the dirt with the bulldozers and the excavators. And then the other equipment is stagnant equipment that you can climb in and honk the horn. I try my best every year to tell them to disable the horns. They won't listen to me. I dream of horns honking for a month after this event.
I'll bet you do.
Excuse me, but it is just a fantastic day. We say for people of all ages. Admission is $5, so very affordable for the families to come. This year we are starting something new. We're selling tickets online at eaglemount.org, and if you purchase your tickets ahead of time online, we will have a fast pass entrance.
Okay, so you can just zip right on
So
in
you can
and
just
not have to wait in line.
Zip right in,
yeah.
not have to wait in line to purchase your ticket that day. I encourage people to do that, but we'll also be selling tickets at the door. We'll have about 6 different food vendors out there. So come hungry and just enjoy yourself.
All right. We've got to take a quick break. We're talking with Stephanie Uter, the events manager at Eagle Mount, and we're talking about Digger Days. They've got the frequent digger line so that you can get into, I guess. So we'll be right back with more about Eagle Mount right after this. 14 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Thursday, August 22nd, 2019, 65 degrees outside, looking for a high of 77. Stephanie Uter joins me. This is the event manager over at Eagle Mount. Happy to have you with us today. Thanks for coming in today. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, well, it's pretty nice to promote Digger Days coming up. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. We want to talk about the hours at Eagle Mount, too. If people want to go out and, as we pointed out earlier, you give tours and things. So what are those hours that they can show up out there if they want to tour?
Absolutely. Our office is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. We're at 69, or when I say every day, 5 days a week,
right, sure.
Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
And we're at 6901 Goldenstein Lane. Would love to have everyone in the community come out and check out our property. Not only do we have a fantastic swimming pool on property, we have a wonderful therapeutic barn, and we also have a brand new amphitheater, which we are really excited about.
Yeah, that's a recent addition out there that you guys put in, so that's great. Do you have like music venues and events out there, or is that your plan? Or
so far we've had one concert out there, which was in June. We had Pinky and the Floyd for our inaugural kickoff concert, and it was a wonderful evening. And we will continue next summer having a concert series. We're just in the midst of planning.
Yeah, I was going to say you just got the thing in here recently, so it's got to evolve, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, good. The other thing we wanted to emphasize too, if there are folks out there that would like to volunteer to Eagle Mount, and you guys help the handicapped and mentally disabled folks and whatever. So
yes, so we have all sorts of programs that you can volunteer. We have skiing, ice skating. If you don't want to do something outside, we're always looking for volunteers in the office to help with our mailings or help answer the phones. And so there is always something. Don't feel like you're not qualified to come out, because we would love to have you.
Yeah. Well, and you do the swimming, you do the horticulture too. So if somebody's into gardening or really wants to teach folks how to garden or, help with that horticultural part of it is fine. Or
Absolutely. We are looking for somebody for all of our programs, and all of our programs are listed on our website at eaglemount.org.
Eaglemount.org.
Along with volunteer applications.
Yeah. Is there a number they can call if we need to, if they want to call and just find out more information maybe, or talk about what's available in more detail?
Yes, our phone number is 406-586-1781.
1781, okay. All right, we'll get that. Keep that number in mind as we go through, 586-1781.
Yes,
Easy
sir.
to remember. So. All right. And as we mentioned earlier, we've got Digger Days coming up, and we're going to have how many pieces of equipment out there?
Between 40 and 50.
Really? So kids can go out there and ride on the bulldozers, backhoes, whatever moves ground around.
That's right. Yep. It's a kid's sandbox come to life, and we say it's for kids of all ages.
Yeah.
Admission is $5, and we'll be out there Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
9 to 3 on Saturday, $5 to get in. And you got, if you buy it online at eaglemount.org.
Yes, if you buy your tickets early at eaglemount.org, we will have a fast pass entrance. So the way I've seen those lines line up in the past, I would highly recommend purchasing your tickets ahead of time.
How many people have you had out there in the past?
I think our highest number we've had is between 5,000 and 6,000 people.
Wow. So a lot of folks do show up out there. So I would advise you to get the tickets online at eaglemount.org.
I totally agree. And let's break that 6,000 record this year.
Good.
Let's hit 7,000.
Yeah, that'll work. I like that idea. So we'll get as many folks out there as we can. And we really appreciate what you guys do in the community. And this Digger Days is a yearly event. The last week in August, you've had it for a number of years, and we're happy to be a part of it too, to promote it to the community. And I think it's a great deal for you guys out there, and fun for the kids and the whole family, and everybody can come out and enjoy it. And it's a family event.
It is. It's a family event.
I was going to say the dads and the kids will enjoy it. Just
That's right. And the great thing is, once you pay that $5 to get in, if you need to go home and rest and take a nap, possibly take a shower because you're so dusty, we'll give you a wristband so you can come back in later in the day and not have to pay again.
Okay. Well, that's a good deal. All right. We've got to take another quick break, and we'll be right back. We're talking with Stephanie Uter, the event manager at Eaglemount, and Digger Days is coming up this Saturday, 9 to 3. So get your tickets online at eaglemount.org and get through the frequent digger line. We'll see. We'll be right back with more right after this. Welcome back, everyone. It's 5 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Thursday, August 22nd, 2019, and Stephanie Uter is in the house. She's the event manager of Eaglemount, and Digger Days is coming up this Saturday. 50 or 60 pieces of equipment out there you can ride on, bulldozers, backhoes, trucks, you name it, and be sure and blow the horn because Stephanie loves that. Yeah, so she'll be really happy if you do that, right?
The more horns, the better.
That's right. The more horns, the better. So yeah. So if you've ever wanted to ride on a backhoe, or well, I guess they don't ride very much; they just dig. But bulldozers, the roller things, I guess you have out there. And if you've ever wanted to operate one of those or ride on it, or, I think the kids love that stuff. So, seeing it and getting to touch it and sit on it and maybe work the handles with supervision or whatever. I guess that's one thing I wanted to ask you about. Obviously, you can't just have kids go out there and start the thing up and ride around. So,
Correct.
So we gotta have somebody out there that's the kid's gonna sit on the lap or or be somewhere, I guess, where they're safe. And
yes, So we have wonderful support from Knife River, Syme Construction, and TMC, along with around 50 other sponsors from the area, and really actually throughout the state, that come and bring operators. And not only is it a great way for them to help the community, but it's also workforce development for them. They get these kids excited about possibly coming and operating these machines when they get older.
Yeah.
And so depending on your age, we will have an operator in each piece of equipment
Right.
that the kids will sit in their lap and they will instruct them. And then we also have somebody that walks people to the equipment and helps get them up. So no one is unsupervised. Everybody's taken very well.
The stuff's not running around.
Yeah.
And, you're dodging equipment. So.
It's very well orchestrated and in a controlled fashion.
Well, good. Well, we hope so. No, I think you've, when you get 6,000 people out there, must be a line to get on the various pieces of equipment sometimes, or do a lot of people just watch what they do, or how's that work? Or I guess it's going to be over a period of several hours, so not 6,000 aren't there at any one time.
Correct. They come sporadically throughout the day. And so you might have a 10-minute wait at the most, depending on what piece of equipment you want to get on. But also we have a 2-story sand pile that is so much fun, and it's covered with people. And so it's never overwhelming. We're in a big field, so you never feel too crowded or anything like that. Definitely wide open space and room to get around.
Yeah, that's really good. So, Digger Day Saturday, 9 to 3. And if you want to get in quickly, get your tickets online at eaglemount.org, and they're $5. And you got a quick line for people who buy online to just skirt the booth and
that's
go
correct.
right through the line. And they'll be, do they just have an email?
Yes, they'll get an email confirmation.
Email ticket,
Yes.
And so they'll just flash that.
And then we'll also be selling tickets at the door, of course, and also there'll be plenty of parking. Make sure you pull in and drive all the way down. Sometimes it looks like the parking lot's full, but we monitor it really well. So don't keep going past because you think the parking lot's full. And it's on Dollar Drive off Frontage Road in Belgrade.
Okay, so plenty of room over there, and you'll have 5 acres to roam around in, and should be a good time. Usually is. I know. We hope 6,000, 7,000 folks show up. We'll do our best to let them know it's coming, and I think it's great fun for the whole family to get out there and see what these things do, and maybe ride on them and see how they work. And as you mentioned, maybe it's an opportunity for kids to say, "Hey, that's what I want to run a bulldozer. I want to do." Do equipment or something like that. So.
Yes, it's a great workforce development opportunity. Yeah. And also, moms and dads, don't be scared to get on those machines. We've had up to a 93-year-old on there before.
Wow.
So we welcome everybody.
Okay. All right. Well, that wraps it up for us. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. And once again, Digger Days is 9 to 3 on Saturday. Get your tickets online at eaglemount.org. $5. Get in the fast line, get in.
Great time for all.
Run these things. All right, Stephanie Yoder, thanks very much for being here, and we'll see you Saturday.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right. We'll be back with more right after this. Thank you, Dan. Welcome back, everyone. 6 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock, Thursday, August 22nd. 65 degrees outside. Shay Matabin, half man, half amazing. How you doing, man?
Well, I want to acknowledge American philanthropy because Eagle Mount is a great example of philanthropic giving. I am the third foundation, which was based on Matthew 22, and Eagle Mount were founded in 1982 by General Robert C. Mathis and his wife, Greta. He retired from a 34-year career as a 4-star Air Force general. And it's a remarkable acknowledgement of people like that offer programs. Eagle Mount, by the way, has one of the largest group of participants in the United States for an NGO, non-government organization, over 2,000 volunteers. And, the thing that I want to just acknowledge is two things that is important. There are other big fundraiser, which I was hoping to ask her about, will be held November 9th, 2019. It's the Eagle Mount's Crystal Ball, and you should get tickets to that. It's a black tie event in Bozeman, and get to meet a lot of interesting people and perhaps the people that have supported it. One person is the M.J. Murdoch Charitable Trust. That's important to mention because it's here located in Canada. So it's a Canadian philanthropic organization that pays out $1 billion a year and contributes to Eagle Mount. And then the Dennis Washington and his wife's foundation. Some of you may know Dennis Washington in Montana. The university in Missoula Stadium is the Washington Stadium. He's also got a Canadian link. His major corporation that he's involved with is Seaspan Marine Corporation here in Vancouver. He's worth about $5.4 billion, by the way. And great contributor to philanthropic things such as this. He's famous here because he has the Atessa 4 yacht in Vancouver. It's one of the largest yachts in the world, and everybody recognizes it going in and out of the harbor. So props to all these people and what philanthropy in the U.S. does for Americans and the needy.
All right. We had Eagle Mount in just before you guys were on. They have digger days out Saturday where kids and adults get to go out and run the equipment, the backhoes and bulldozers and things like that. And they have about 6,000 people show up out there, so it's quite a deal. So we want to acknowledge them, and not to infringe on your time, but we want to make sure of that. So we're welcoming Brian's with us, Rabbi Ed, of course, Pastor Jody, Father Leo, the normal suspects are all here. So our topic of the day, I get to pick it, I guess, and I was going to ask, can religion stop mass shootings? We had shootings in Dayton and El Paso recently, quite a lot of damage done, a lot of people killed. And I was in with my wife at the doctor's yesterday. Time magazine had a photo on the cover of all of the shootings, the places, and covered the entire front of the issue, the cover of the magazine. And I was wondering, since every religion teaches, you're your brother's keeper, be good to each other, help those in need, and all of this, but we see attendance dropping in churches as people seem to flow away from religion for whatever reason. And I'm wondering if a concerted effort was made that religion, if parties and whatever got together and say, hey, this might be an answer, that religion may be the way to reach people with this problem. And I thought you guys could comment on that. Whoever wants to start, go for it. Father Leo, give us your thoughts.
Sure. I think that we got to look at this thing from as comprehensive a view as we can, and religion I think certainly plays a factor in that. It is part of that. I'm not sure that religion alone can fix all of this or whatever, but I think it certainly is an issue that we need to take seriously, and we in the religious community have got to sort of up our game a little bit on the whole idea of what it means to love one another, and how we can love one another, even if we disagree with each other. Jesus, in our Christian tradition, Jesus loved his enemies, and he asked us to love his enemies. So it's like, it's not just a matter of loving the people that you like or the people that you agree with, but loving even the people that you don't agree with and that you don't like and who don't like you. And how do we do that? I don't know that we've spent a great amount of time trying to figure that out. We've tended to get into our own worlds of these are the enemies, and so we can attack them or whatever. Somehow or other, we've got to get back to that fundamental principle of our, in the Christian tradition, of our founder, that says, we have to love even our enemies. Now, the interesting thing is what you brought up, is that all religious traditions, I used to teach world religions at the college level, all religious traditions throughout the world eventually come to the place of treat your neighbor as yourself, or treat people with love and compassion, and somehow or other that does have I think if we emphasized that kind of unanimity in religious traditions, that we'd get somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Pastor Jody?
Sure. When you asked the question, I thought, well,
Yeah.
that song that started going through my head. All you need is love,
Right,
and
yeah.
and then it's true. All you need is love, but love is the start of a great complex answer to what the world needs now. God has given us the ability to regulate ourselves with laws and governments. God has given us the ability to create technology. God's given us so many other resources to use towards that end of love. So can religion end mass shootings? Well, I don't know about making it simplistic like that. I think that's
It is a simplistic question.
Yeah,
I'll agree
sure,
with that. Yeah,
sure.
I'm just throwing it out
of course
for discussion. Yeah.
So, but it's a route that we could that could infiltrate our world and society and cause us to have better laws and live more kindly and have the right kind of approach to living with our neighbors.
Yeah, I know on Facebook, I see all sorts of things, that come in. Some are positive, some are negative, but there are a lot of people who post religious thoughts on Facebook, and I'm wondering if that would be where something like this can start. If you're bullied, go to church. If you're if you're unhappy with your life, go to church, and get a foundation of faith to get you over the speed bumps of life, so to speak. And that's what I'm wondering because all of these people seem to have a bottom line of they're all troubled in some way. They feel they feel the need to take power in the situation. And I'm just wondering if religion can say, well, here's your power, try this. Rabbi Ed?
Yeah. So, first of all, I'm in complete agreement with my friends, Reverend Jody and Father Leo. In addition to the love your neighbor message is, of course, the message that we're all created in the divine image. So when you harm somebody else, you're harming God. At the same time, however, we need to acknowledge that some religion actually goes the other direction and plays a role in causing this. The most obvious place you see this is ISIS, which is a tiny minority of Muslims, don't represent the Muslim world in any way, but in the name of their religion, they're murderers.
Well, that was the other thing I was going to bring up, that for years people have warred with each other throughout the world in the name of religion. Whether that was a justified war or not, that's the excuse they fell back on.
And I don't want to pick on the Muslims but let's pick on the synagogue shooter in California just a month or so ago. He had Christian crosses tattooed all over his body. He was a regular attendee at a church. I believe it was a Presbyterian, not your kind of Presbyterian, right? An evangelical Presbyterian church. And we find a number of these people are actually attending churches. And if you look at the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, where we were hearing Nazi chants and chants of Jews will not replace us, for example, many of those people are carrying crosses.
Sure.
And indeed, the KKK carried crosses. So religion anything in the world that has...
That's what I'm saying, that religion misdirected certainly plays a part in this, because as I say, these shooters are looking for an excuse. Am I anti-Semitic? Am I anti-Muslim? Am I anti-Catholic coming across the borders? I don't want all these brown people coming up from Mexico. I want them to stay down there, but I'm going to use religion as my excuse to act.
Well, and it's not just some fly-by-night person that does that.
No.
There are churches
Oh, sure.
where that message, if not directly
Westboro
given,
Baptist Church, for example.
well, that's an extreme one, but yes, but you don't have to go that extreme. And I think one of the things we need to do as religious leaders is ask ourselves the difficult questions of what is it within each of our religions that plays a role in creating the problem. We know what we all believe that plays a role in solving the problem, but we also have there's a dark side of everything. And atomic energy is one of the greatest things that's ever discovered. Yeah. It's also something that's capable of destroying us if misused. Well, yeah. The more power anything has, the more power for good, the more power for destruction as well. And religion is no different. And we have to be so careful and so inquiring and so honest with ourselves to look into our own hearts and our own religion and say, what is it in our religion that allows this people taking the cross, the symbol of love for Christians, and turning it into a swastika?
Yeah. All right. We got to take a break. We'll be right back with Father Leo, Pastor Jody, and Reverend Rabbi Ed, and Brian is also joining us today. So we'll get Brian's thought on this question right after we come back. So stay tuned. 22 minutes after the hour. It's Thursday, August 22nd, 2019. The God Squad's in the house. We got Father Leo, we got Pastor Jody, we got Rabbi Ed, and Brian. Where the topic of the day is can religion stop mass shootings? And what's your thoughts?
Well, yes, I wouldn't disagree with any of the thoughts that were shared. And my mind was going where to the comments that were near the end of the last segment. That the sad reality is religion. Whenever someone invents a religion or distorts a religion, it can be used as justification for killing, which we've already mentioned if you look back at history, that's just the sad reality of what has happened. So it certainly could be a partial solution, but we have to acknowledge the fact it's also part of the problem at times.
Yeah. From our text line, Westboro is not a church; they are an inbred cult, and I would agree with that. I think they're not a true church, but they call themselves a church, and they're sort of an example of what we were talking about when religion is kind of taken over by people who figure that you can't be against religion. I mean, come on, So we'll use religion to force our thoughts in this direction or that direction, and Rabbi Ed mentioned ISIS, which is nothing like what the Muslim Quran or anything else teaches. That we're going to use religion as our reason to, make life miserable for other people. And that's what I'm thinking. Can we do the opposite? Can we do religion to make life better for people who feel persecuted or feel bullied or feel life has passed them by for some reason?
Well, again, as I mentioned during the break, I think one of the central issues throughout the world right now is the way in which we are thinking. We're thinking, most people are thinking in terms of everything seems to be collapsing, everything seems to be falling apart, and I'm completely out of control of any of it. And so people are looking for some kind of control. And one of the first places they look for that kind of control is in religion, because most religions teach, we have to control ourselves. We have to control our darker emotions, and that we can do that by way of our religious traditions of, prayer and grace and salvation and justification and all of those things. And unfortunately, then people take that to that sort of side that says, I can be in control again. And then they simply pick an enemy to be in control of. And that's where I think we in all of the religious traditions have got to get much better at trying to help people to recognize it is clear in the scriptures, it is clear in the New Testament or in the Christian scriptures that Christ consistently calls us to surrendering not to being in control. Nobody's in control except God, and unless we can get to that kind of deeper level, we're not going to get anywhere. In our tradition, last century, we had a priest, one of the great theologians of the 20th century, Father Karl Rahner, who said that unless religion becomes truly spiritual, and that's not some kind of fuzzy kind of stuff, but truly spiritual, none of us will survive.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally agree with Father Leo. You know, unless religion becomes really about being God intoxicated, which we're nowhere near there. I'm not. We have to. We've got problems, and and the problems are amplified by a secular world and a political world that's full of divisiveness. And we have leaders now, not only in this country but in many places around the world, who recognize the fear that's out there, who recognize the anger that's out there, and realize that you can make political points with that, and they drive us apart and encourage us to form tribes against one another. Just this week, I'll speak as a Jew. Our president said that 80% of Jews are either stupid or disloyal. This has got the Jewish world so upset. The internet is just abuzz with how angry we are about being called disloyal. But what's going on underneath this is an attempt to be divisive. And I don't want to pick on that example, because there are a zillion examples, and not just in this country. In India, the divisiveness that's going on there with a prime minister who is attacking Muslims in a majority Hindu country, or in Myanmar, or in China. It's going on all over, where politicians have figured out what Hitler figured out, essentially, that you can use fear and anger to divide people and gather more political support that way. And that is a big part of the problem. And it feels, I could say as a religious leader, and I'm sure I speak for my colleagues, like it feels like we're rowing a boat upstream when there's a strong current coming in the other way. And the current's not coming from as much from the church as it is from the world that's trying to divide us. So,
okay. But on the other hand, don't you think that the comments of the lady in the Senate, or in the House rather, warranted? She is obviously anti-Jewish.
I don't agree with that. I think she is critical of Israel, but being critical of Israel is not being anti-Jewish. I'm critical of Israel. So are 80% of American Jews. Now, I don't. That's not to say I agree with her and everything.
Yeah.
But we can disagree without me being called disloyal.
Yeah. But Israel has been a loyal ally of ours.
Israel is a country.
I understand
right?
that.
And it's got a government. You can love Israel and disagree with its government.
I agree with that. All right. We got to duck out here, pay a couple bills, and we'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, everyone. Thursday, August 22nd, 2019, 67 degrees outside. We're looking for a high of about 77 degrees today. Shane Matabin been very quiet on the on the line today. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm fine. I may make a comment. Or...
Sure. Well,
okay.
You're half the show, man. You're.
I do find it fascinating hearing what's being said. As a Christian, I get up at 4:00 every day, and I read my good book and pray till 4:30 before I prepare for the show. I always pick a passage that I, read constantly while I'm doing the show. Today is, "Do not be afraid, for I have ransomed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. When you go through deep waters, I will be with you." Isaiah 43:1-2. I do this because, it's important for me to know that I try to be a good individual in the context of my beliefs and where I stand on them. And I think it's an important thing for people not just to pray. I think it's important that you pray every day, but to read the good book, because there are so many lessons in it. And my only observation is that I find it might be beneficial if we maybe heard from everyone what their favorite part or passage in the Bible is.
Yeah, that would be an interesting comment. From our text line, we have one: "We're all born sinners." Galatians 5:16 says to live by the Holy Spirit, and you will not gratify the sinful nature. And Father Leo had a comment there as to
I think
what exactly is that?
Sure. Well, I mean, that's exactly the point, that to live in the Spirit. But what does that mean? Mm-hmm. And it's a real. Jesus always calls us to action, mm-hmm. but he calls us to action after we have incorporated his mm-hmm. life, his way, mm-hmm. his consciousness into ourselves. So there's an interior direction. We have to spend time in prayer and in study of the Scriptures. We have to, by the same token, then do something with that in terms of our behavior in the world. So it's like it's very complicated, but we're called to get at that if we're going to be the the followers of Jesus.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
Well, my favorite, I guess, at least one of my favorites. It's really hard. I have every time a passage comes
it's
up,
your
it's
favorite
like
record,
right.
Music
this is my
book,
this is my 256,542nd most favorite passage in the Bible. But the one that I always try to come back to is what Jesus said more than anything else in the Gospels: "Do not be afraid."
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
Yeah,
we're afraid.
Yeah.
So I similarly have a new favorite every day, but I guess and the one that's whoever that was on the
right,
that he spoke, that's among my top, I don't know, 10 or 20.
Okay.
But I also go to 1 John.
Mm-hmm.
God is love, and those who abide in love abide in God, and God abides in them.
Okay.
Well, I like this is Rabbi Ed. I like the verse that Shane brought to us a good deal, but I think I have to go with, and me too. I mean, there's so many wonderful verses.
You're just limited to the Old Testament. That's all.
Well, the Hebrew Bible. Yeah. I mean, there's parts of the New Testament I love as well, because
I know.
Jesus
giving you a hard time.
Jesus and I shared something, and that is that we're both rabbis.
Right.
And his teaching came from rabbinic tradition mostly. I think I'd have to pick what is the most repeated verse in the Hebrew Bible, just by virtue of it being repeated so many times indicates its importance. And 36 times we hear, "You shall love the stranger, because you were strangers in the land of Egypt." And behind the verse is this idea that we suffered for 400 years as slaves so we could get in our bones what it means to be oppressed as a foreigner, as somebody who's different. And unless you learn that in your bones, you can't. It's difficult to apply it to others who you meet.
Right.
So it's not just the love your neighbor. That's easy. Your neighbor, your family. Mm-hmm. It's the stranger. The stranger would mean in this context. We could get into the Hebrew, but trust me, it means the alien, the non-resident, the immigrant. Mm-hmm. That is 36 times we're told to love those people. And I can't think of a stronger command in the Hebrew Bible. Of course, Jesus picks up on this when he talks about the two great commandments, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where I go.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, I think for me, it's interesting we're talking about religion this morning and what it can do and can't do, because as it has often been said, religion really is usually man's attempt to earn salvation or earn a right standing with God, which leads me to probably my favorite passage, which is Ephesians 2:8-9. "For by grace you are saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, and it's not of works, lest anyone should boast." So those verses are so crystal clear that all of our attempts at religion, earning salvation, earning a right standing with God, really don't cut it. So that's That would be the passage.
All right. We got to take another quick break. We'll be right back with more right after this. Welcome back, everybody. 14 minutes for the top of the hour. Shane Matavin has been waterboarding a listener, so let's go to the phones see what's going on there. So, caller, you are on the air. What's going on?
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, Shane beat me up pretty hard there. I just
Well,
wanted
that's
to
awfully kind of you to say.
You're more than welcome. So I wanted to say that, to deny the existence of an almighty creator and an almighty God is essentially to deny the world that we live in, because there's so many things that trees, animals, creatures, everything, that it would be impossible without divine creation. And the evolutionists, Darwinists, whatever, they want you to believe that everything happened by accident, and if you go back to evolutionary theory, to the beginning premises that it all started in water where certain conditions were right and some single-celled organism or something evolved out of the soup, the primordial soup. And from that point, you have to have a pretty wild imagination to assume that this mindless amoeba, if you will, eventually evolved into amphibians and reptiles and birds and mammals. And then along with that, how did we wind up with apple trees and oak trees and whales and giraffes and fruit trees and grape trees and lions and tigers? It's inconceivable, and there is no evidence to support evolutionary theory. In fact, the big thing is they try to use the fossil record as proof, but it's all the missing parts are missing. For instance, the fossil record is supposed to say that each creature evolved from one stage into another. So if the fossil record was accurate, all these transitional creatures would have left literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of these traditional or transitional fossils. They don't exist. So you have to be logical in your faith to realize that God, however it happened, Almighty God created everything, and that's about all I got to say, fellas.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
Well said. Very good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I've always, something is always that has driven that home for me was, and he mentioned the giraffe and the lion and the tiger and the deer, the dog, the cat, all have the same back leg formation. Now, whether that was the most efficient over time, I don't know. But it seems like that one, regardless of the species, water buffalo, the elephant's the only four-kneed mammal. So I don't know what, how to express that. But anyway, we got a text that I got to read. Everybody got a chuckle out of. Favorite verse when Jesus says, someone insults you, mock them back harder and tweet it. So we thought that was pretty good. So I don't have a Bible verse, I don't think. One thing that I've always lived by my entire life was in every adversity, there is the seed of an equal or greater benefit. And that's always happened to me. Every time I was down and out, something came along, somewhere I got help from someone, or, somebody lifted me up, or somebody said, this too will pass, so to speak. So that's
Solomon said that, by the way.
Oh, yeah. You do. Is that right? Okay. Well, good. Okay. We got to take another quick break. You got to get the Rush update in here. So thanks to everybody for texting and calling. And here's Rush. Welcome back, everybody. 4 minutes for the top of the hour. We're talking with the God Squad this morning. We got Father Leo in the house, Pastor Jody, Rabbi Ed. I'm going to call you Reverend Ed sooner or later. And Brian's with us as well. Are you a pastor?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Pastor Brian, then I should say. I don't want to use the wrong terminology here, but Let's see, from our text line, second favorite verse at the Last Supper, Jesus told the apostles, no, I can't read that on the air. Never mind. All right, well, we'll move on. Well, we're our topic, if you're just joining us, we were talking about can religions stop mass shootings, and then we also went into favorite verses of people. And well, we got a call. Maybe we can finish this up with a phone call. So, caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Tom and Steve. I just wanted to comment on the last call. I sent you a text, so I didn't think you'd have time to read it, but real quickly. And how long have they been searching for the missing link? There's never been any transitional form found. And the one time paleoanthropologists tried, to prove it, it turned out to be a hoax in Piltdown, man. Yeah. I mean, after all the time they've tried to find these transitional forms, there's just more validity for the existence of Almighty God. Mm-hmm. And that's all I got to say.
All right, man. Thanks for the call. All right.
So, Tom, when we talk about the question you've been asking, that is, what can religion do about these mass shootings? And there's been a lot of interesting and good ideas that have been put forth by my friends here. The one that we haven't mentioned, I think is so critical, is what we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. Is when you get a Catholic priest and a progressive Protestant minister and a conservative Protestant minister and a rabbi in the same room. Yeah. All having that's the hard part. I was going so far that's the easy part. Putting it together with you, Tom. Now we've really got something. And what our work is, and the reason we get up at so early in the morning to come be with you is A, we love you, but B is to demonstrate something else, that our commonalities overwhelm by so much our differences, and we can build on those commonalities together. That's the opposite message of dividing us, right? Mm-hmm. I don't agree with my friends here on everything, but we do agree on most things, even if we use different language to express it sometimes. And we can build on those. And on the things we disagree about, we can disagree respectfully and lovingly. And that's a part of the religious message, this interfaith message that we do so well here in Bozeman, that really is important to this issue.
Yeah.
Ditto.
Okay. Yeah, I'd agree. All right. Yeah. Well, and I appreciate you guys coming in every month. I realize it's an hour of your time that you'll never get back again. So thank you for coming in and expressing your viewpoints on.
Thanks
on
for welcoming us.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, that wraps it up for us for today. So thanks again, everybody, for being here. And we will, we got to say goodbye, Shane.
Goodbye, Mayor. Look forward to tomorrow on Friday. Be happy, be safe, and God bless everyone.
All right. Thank you. All right. That does it for us. Thanks, everybody, again for coming in, and we appreciate it. And, hey, we'll see everybody bright and early Friday morning at 6 a.m.